Hello, first grade families. This is Mrs. Conley, and we are here to welcome you to our curriculum presentation. This is informing you of all the different programs we use during the year to teach our standard-based curriculum.
And Mrs. Whitcomb here as well. We're just going to walk you through this presentation just to explain some more of the curriculum that we use.
All right, let's get started.
So just a little note on behavior and management. As a first grade team, we really like to try to do all that we can to prevent problems before they happen. So one tool that Mrs. Conley and I both use in our classrooms is a clip chart for behavior. Everybody gets to start the day on the color green, a good color, and then you can either move up the chart for making good choices or down our chart for making poor choices throughout the day. And we talk to the kids a lot about this at the beginning of the year especially, and we kind of base our moving up and down off of our class rules. We're working at school right now to develop some class rules together. We find that way the kids really feel empowered and feel a part of the classroom when they help us to come up with those class rules. We really like to deal with as much as we can ourselves, but if we ever are having enough issues that we need to reach out to you, we'll communicate via email or grabbing you after school just to touch base with your child. No news is good news for us. If you aren't hearing from us, it means your kid is doing great at school, and we only really reach out when things are repeatedly an issue. So we also both have an open line of communication. We really believe that it's vital for us to have a great relationship in order for your students to be successful. So we try to make ourselves available as often as we can before and after school if you have questions or concerns. Email is a great way to reach out, or you feel free to text us as well. And keep in mind that this year with our hybrid schedule, we do have an office hour Friday mornings from 9:15 to 10:15 and are available to talk with you for any questions or concerns. As for homework this year, because of the hybrid model, we are not going to be sending home homework for first grade right now. Please use the weekly plan to access any assignments for your remote learning days, but we didn't feel like adding homework on top of that was a great choice. This is subject to change. If our school model changes for the year, we will reach out, but for the time being, no homework. Just continue working and supporting your children while they work at home on your remote days.
All right, habits of character. Here at Soaring Hawk, we have developed specific habits of character that we try to instill to our students on how we behave and monitor ourselves throughout the school. It's school-wide expectations of how we treat each other and how we set up our learning environment with each other. Common language is used throughout the school, through all grade levels. Our habits of character we focus on weekly and monthly. As you can see on the slide, those habits of character, if you were here last year, your kiddo should remember how to be a contributing citizen, how to show compassion, how to be an active learner, how to be a resilient explorer. We're definitely going to be exploring that one this year with our new model. We'll definitely build that resiliency for our kiddos. And then we also want to make sure we're always showing integrity. We're always doing the right thing when no one is watching, even when no one is watching. We do some short lessons throughout the day. We touch on this during our morning crew meetings, and then always wrapping it up at the end of the day as well. Okay, as part of our habits of character and with our expeditionary learning modules that we use here at Soaring Hawk, we also have an element called crew. And as you've already seen, our morning meetings are called crew. And part of that element is that we are all crew, we're not just passengers. We talk to first graders that we are all rowing the boat together. There's not just one person in charge, that we address concerns together as a crew. We problem solve as a crew. It's very structured for community building in the classroom. Again, we use common language throughout the building. There's always a literacy piece included and some kind of interaction. We typically develop some protocols that we use throughout the day, which we are kind of changing now with social distancing, but we're pretty good at punting. So we will definitely find a way to develop those protocols throughout this year. Again, with the crew, the structure, we have an opening and a welcoming. Typically, we would have some kind of greeting. We'd start in a circle. We introduce ourselves and say good morning, always really focusing on making eye contact, saying someone's name with a smile. And then we would do some kind of fist bump or high five or some really fun little tidbits that we do to greet each other. Again, we will be changing that as we need to with social distancing. We have some kind of literacy component. It could be simple as a quote that we're looking at, something simple that's tied to that purpose. And then we usually have some kind of initiative, some kind of team building. It can be either just a quick little game that follows the reading, a task or a little assignment we can have them do. There's all kinds of different things that we do with that. And then we always just debrief and reflect on pretty much everything we do throughout the day. We always want to check in at the end of any lesson just to make sure everyone's progressing toward the target and that we can move on.
So reading is obviously a huge focus of our first grade year. We approach our reading with a couple different structures. We always start off our reading lessons with a whole group lesson, and the curriculum that we use for that is called expeditionary learning. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few slides. This is really a time when we're focusing on different reading strategies. So we're really focusing on decoding, comprehension, inferring, making predictions, things like that, where we're usually using a shared text to do so. We also work in reading groups where the children are placed into groups based on their needs. This gives us a chance to just focus a little more in on their specific needs and work with some smaller groups in order to target those needs. We use our iReady testing as well as some other class assessments to determine these groups, and they're changing throughout the year too. So maybe your kid will be in a group with some kids to start, and that could change as we all have different needs. So some of the centers that we usually work through during this reading group time are around word work. We might be practicing skills from our Phonics Foundations program. We use listening to reading is something that we'll utilize iReady for, and some of those iReady lessons. Reading to yourself, just picking up a book and reading. We're still figuring out how to make that work the best this year with our new restrictions, but we definitely want to still have books in the hands of your kids. It's so important for the first graders to have that tactile experience with reading as well. We also focus on writing, and reading with a partner might look a little different this year as well. Might look something like reading one-on-one with your child's teacher or an aide who might be working in the classroom more so than with another student. We also have reading games that we like to incorporate. Just the more joy that we can bring to reading for your kids, the more they're going to learn. So we spend a lot of our day reading in first grade. And our expeditionary learning is our curriculum that we use for literacy. So it is really engaging. It has these units that we focus on where there's a lot of rich text incorporated, fiction and nonfiction. For example, our first unit that we work on in first grade is surrounding tools and work. And the kids get to do all these challenges with different kinds of tools. We're reading books about science tools, math tools, tools that we see for building. It's really a fun unit where the kids get to be super hands-on with their learning and interact with literature in that way. Yeah, we really like the expeditionary learning program, and the kids are usually very engaged with this as well. We also like to incorporate a lot of writing into it, and your child will be doing a lot of that writing piece at school on their in-person days as well.
Okay, writing. Um, First graders also learn to read through their own writing as well. So we are trying to get them to write a lot during the day in all of our areas. Um, we definitely do a lot of shared writing, especially at first, so we can all have an idea what the expectation for writing is. We start with a detailed picture or some kind of plan, and we want to make sure we have the elements we need when we write our stories. And then we definitely work on the mechanics of writing, and we hit that a lot during foundations, where the kids really learn how to form letters correctly, complete sentences with correct capitalization and punctuation. So it's really built into our phonics lessons and then incorporated throughout the day when we do even math or science or social studies. We definitely want to get those kiddos writing. By the end of first grade, you will just be amazed that most of them will be writing paragraphs, and it's really exciting to see how much the writing and reading grows in first grade. Okay, science and social studies. These are all standards based. All of our areas of curriculum are based on the state standards. With our science, we use a program called STEM Scopes. And this year with the hybrid and the remote learning models, there'll be a lot of videos that the kiddos will watch and respond to. They follow some of our expeditionary modules, so we can incorporate and try and integrate those units together. And then social studies, again, we just follow the Colorado state standards. Some of our units include holidays around the world and American symbols, but a lot of the time we try to integrate that into our larger blocks, especially right now since we have the kiddos twice a week.
So we have a new math program this year. It's called Ready Math. We're really excited about it because it is aligned with our iReady testing. So what we were finding before is that we were testing the kids one way in iReady and using a different curriculum, and it just wasn't quite matching up with the language and some of the skills that were being taught. So we're really excited to have that close alignment this year and excited to see how our kids can grow even more with those things being so close this year. So we're very excited. It's a very structured program with a big focus on problem solving and especially meaningful discourse. It has the kids talking a lot about their strategies, how they approach solving the problems. Was it similar to someone next to you? Was it different? Is that okay? Just a lot of talking about the way that we think and solve math problems, which we really love because we love to talk in first grade and share what we think. It's also very kid-friendly. There's bright pictures. We get to be hands-on with manipulatives, and the kids really get to engage in a tactile way with the math as well. Like our other areas of curriculum, it's all based on the Colorado state standards as well. And you'll probably start seeing a lot of assignments too coming home through our iReady, goodness, I can't think of the word, the app, the website. It's really neat because when we take the tests at school, it takes the kids' information and then it helps find lessons for them based on how they did on the assessment. So we actually already took the assessments for reading and for math, so we'll begin assigning some work in iReady as well. And you also have that huge workbook at home that we're going to start working out of for math as well.
Okay, phonics. We use a program called Foundations. It's really, really great because the kids move pretty quickly as they learn how to read and decode words. Right now, If your kiddos have been watching the lessons at home, they are really just reviewing letter sounds that they should have mastered in kindergarten. Just a little refresher that we're doing. Again, through our Foundations lessons that we do every day, we work on letter formation. We work on a lot of our sounds and all the different rules that letters and word parts make. We have sound mastery. We work on trick words, which you'll hear a lot. I know in kindergarten, we also had sight words, so those words that we see all the time that we just really have to know. We really can't be sounding them out and depending on decoding, because most of the time those words don't follow a rule. So those are the words that kiddos just really need to learn quickly because they see and write them often. It also introduces some vocabulary. We work on some fluency. And it does include some comprehension strategies that we do within those units that we're doing. And then again, working on those writing mechanics, spelling, handwriting, conventions, all of those mechanical pieces that they need to build as they go through their grade level. EPRs. This information is based on last year. I have not seen any updates as yet on how this will look. I think that's going to mostly be up to what the state tells us that is required. But at this point, we're just going to go off of what we know from last year, that EPRs are released December and June. And this is the report card that you get online. And it addresses all of the content that was taught in that specific semester based on the Colorado State standards. Students are scored in all of the areas, basically on a 1, 2, 3, 4 scale, where a 1 would be below grade level, a 2 would be approaching that standard, 3 is on grade level, and 4 is exceeds. And you'll get some information as we get closer to that of what those criteria are to meet that specific score. They're also scored on behavior through our habits of character. We also, again, back to communication with what Mrs. Whitcomb said, that we don't want EPRs to be a surprise. So if we notice that your kiddo is struggling, we definitely will be addressing that, so it's not a shock at conferences or when you get the report card. We did link the standards to all of the content areas throughout this slideshow. So if you are wanting some bedtime reading, feel free to click on those standards. They're very girthy. So, but we work here at Soaring Hawk really hard to really know what those standards are really well for each grade level, so we know that we're using the programs efficiently.
Just some FAQs that we get every year. They look very different this year, and they are all really subject to change. Because of our restrictions this year, we are not allowed to have volunteers in the classroom right now. We would love to have you, but we just can't at this time. If that changes, you will definitely be hearing from us about how we can incorporate you to help in our classrooms. Along with the restrictions, we are not allowed to have any birthday treats coming into the classroom. We love to celebrate your kids and make them feel special when they're at school, and we will find a way to celebrate them while they're here, but please don't send anything in for the kids to pass out here at school. We're really trying to minimize what's coming into our building. We have a couple of specials. We have wonderful specials teachers here. The kids rotate through a special schedule. This year it looks a little bit different. We are offering 3 specials. We have art, music, and PE, and we'll be in those specials 2 weeks at a time. So your child will get to visit that special 4 times before they switch to a new one. Unlike last year, technology is not a part of this rotation. It's incorporated in addition to our specials, and this will be done through 2-week rotations several times throughout the year. And especially because of the hybrid, we all have technology in our hands. We're using it a lot more in our classrooms than we had been in the past. So we adapted a little bit in order to better meet the needs of our hybrid model this year. For music, you're going to be getting, or maybe you already received, music supply bags. Again, just to minimize the amount of supplies that we're sharing here at school, Ms. Sanders, our music teacher, has made some bags for the kids with some tools that they'll be using when they go to music. And then for PE, Miss A. Paul is fabulous. She just asked that you try to wear tennis shoes on your PE days so that we can all stay safe when we are playing in the gym or outside. And again, because of our restrictions, we will not be taking field trips at this point. We're very sad about that, but we will be trying to incorporate some virtual trips throughout the year. During the springtime when we were in remote learning, we found some fantastic virtual options, which we know can't exactly replace the in-person, but still will be a fun alternative that we can incorporate in our classrooms. And again, all this is subject to change, but for right now, we're just being asked to really follow these restrictions and to make sure that we are keeping everybody safe.
Okay. Excuse me, sorry. Okay, we have reading recovery here at Soaring Hawk. It's a fabulous program throughout the district that offers supplemental support to those kiddos that really need to advance in their reading skills. We have 2 fabulous reading recovery teachers. We have Lisa McCormick. She's been here now a few years, but she's got a ton of experience. And then we have Susan Bartholio, who's been here for a long time here at Soaring Hawk. She's been a classroom teacher here, and she's now doing the reading recovery. So this last couple of weeks, your kiddos, if they had any flags for struggling reading last year, or if they were brand new to Soaring Hawk, they met with one of the 2 teachers to do a screening to see if they are going to be needing that extra support. You will be getting an email if your child is going to be receiving those extra services. You'll get that from myself or Mrs. Whitcomb, and then those 2 teachers will be in touch with you to communicate what that's going to look like. They typically see them every day, and with the hybrid model, they are going to need to be finding time throughout their home days to have lessons. It's a very structured program, and it's very rigorous. So it's really important that we take it seriously, because it's a fabulous program. And honestly, if your child's selected, it's not any cause for concern by any means. It's actually a privilege to be able to get that extra support from these fabulous teachers.
I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for sticking through that with us. We are open and available for questions. If you still have questions about anything, please reach out to your child's teacher so that we can clarify for you. We are so looking forward to working with you and your kids this year, and let's make it a great year.
Absolutely, absolutely. And remember, please contact us with any questions or concerns. We are here to help, and we will make this year as positive and as productive as we possibly can. Thank you.